The Africa Export-Import Bank, which today unveiled the first ever Africa Quality Assurance Center, a state-of-the-art laboratory with the capacity to offer testing, certification, inspection, and training services covering agricultural products. The Quality Assurance Center, located in Ogun State, is the first in the series that Afreximbank intends to establish across the African continent. The president of Afreximbank, Professor Benedict Orama, raised the curtain on the unveiling event alongside the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun. Let's take a listen.
Many African countries can hardly boast of a single world-class quality infrastructure. The consequences have been high rejection rates of value-added agricultural exports from Nigeria and elsewhere across Africa. Standards are established with the goal of providing consumers with high levels of sanitary and health protection. In the European Union, one of the largest export markets for Africa, accounting for almost 25% of exports in 2021. Export conformity is assessed at the border through inspections, and products that do not meet its stipulated standards are denied entry. Failure to meet quality standards therefore jeopardizes the export competitiveness of made in Africa products. In recent years, the use by European Union member countries of stricter non-tariff measures, such as measures related to sanitary and phytosanitary standards and technical barriers to trade, has grown in the agri-food and agricultural sectors in an effort to reduce uncertainty over product quality and safety. Although these measures have explicitly no trade objective and are designed to avert sanitary and phytosanitary risks, there remain substantial barriers for many African countries in exporting to the European market. EU food standards enforcement have been made possible by the EU's rapid alert system for food and feed. Through this system, the EU receives and sends notifications about violations of feed and food safety standards by both the EU and third countries. According to the annual reports issued by this agency, the number of product recalls from European countries and the number of border rejections affecting African exports grew rapidly between 2000 and 2021, increasing from 67 cases to 338 cases annually. And looking at the US market, the country sets eligibility criteria to its market access based on conformity with the import treatment requirements. According to a report issued by the World Trade Organization in 2019, only 24 African countries are eligible for fruits imports into the US, while 15 African countries are eligible for vegetable imports. Rejections at the border is very costly, and it affects export earnings as export goods are often destroyed by the importing country. An estimate of about $700 million worth of export products from Africa is rejected and lost each year due to contamination by aflatoxin, according to the Partnership for Aflatoxin Control in Africa. These rejection rates demonstrate both the lack of knowledge on export market standards and the failure of African countries to conduct conformity assessment prior to export. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our approach at Afreximbank is to find novel solutions to the challenges to the promotion and facilitation of African trade. It is unacceptable that Africans have to cut goods thousands of miles into other countries to test and certify them for the international market. It is unacceptable that we resort to importing goods from elsewhere because we cannot vouch for the quality of those produced within Africa. Afreximbank is contributing towards resolving the problem in many ways. In Nigeria, for instance, we are working with the UNDP towards the adoption of a food safety bill. And we thank Senator Kerry for championing this on our behalf as a member's bill. We understand that we received a present yesterday because the bill passed the second reading yesterday at the Senate. We also advocated for the promulgation of a national quality policy, which has now been done. We thank His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for his leadership in this area. Many thanks to Honorable Minister of Trade, Otumba Adebayo, for helping us in championing this at the cabinet level.
We are very proud to be associated with the opening ceremony of this first Africa Quality Assurance Center, which is an initiative of the African Export-Import Bank. Let me congratulate President Benedict Orama and his entire team for pulling this off. I want to also felicitate with our people from this area, we call this area Remo Division of Ogun State, for being the hosts and landlords of this Agric Center. I would like to commend all those who have played one role or the other in making this Afreximbank's vision not just a reality but a success. I'm proud to acknowledge that Afreximbank, since the inception, has been supporting industrialization, export development, inter- and intra-African trade, expanding capacity, and supporting small and medium-scale enterprises to increase efficiencies across the African landscape. Without missing words, Afreximbank, since its inception and since they began activities in Nigeria, have continued to demonstrate in concrete terms its commitment towards a wholesome and sustainable development of their nation's economy and that of the African continent. This particular opening of this African Quality Assurance Center is a very significant representation of its commitment to the diversification of the economy of our great nation from the over-reliance on crude oil. This facility, which will be the first of its kind in Nigeria and Afrexim's first on the continent among several others that they plan to open, will be managed by none other than the Bureau Veritas, a very reputable world-class testing and certification company.